găsit! Astăzi ne aflăm la Ambasada Japoniei în Republica Moldova, iar noul ambasador extraordinar și plenipotențiar, domnul Yamada Yoichiro, a acceptat un interviu exclusiv pentru TVR Moldova. Your Excellency, thank you very much. La mijlocul lunii decembrie anului 2022 ați prezentat scrisorile de acreditare președintei Maia Sandu și ați discutat despre mai multe posibilități de colaborare între Japonia și Republica Moldova. Care sunt acele priorități?
As ambassador, the important job, in my opinion, is to connect the two peoples, the people of Japan and the people of Moldova. And another important thing is to let Japan known to Moldovans and to let Moldova known to the Japanese people. I think by way of doing that, we will be able to facilitate human contacts and deepen mutual understanding between the two peoples.
Cunoaștem că prin intermediul programului de granturi pentru securitatea umană cu Sanone, multe instituții de învățământ, dar și medicale din țara noastră au beneficiat de granturi nerambursabile. De ce guvernul Japoniei ajută Republica Moldova?
As you noted, a Kusanone program is about human security. We try to help individuals and we try to help organizations to realize their potentials. And we try to help create the conditions to enable that. And we do that throughout the world. Just last week, I was in the village of Tuzara, and where there was a completion ceremony of a kindergarten. And children were dancing for me, and it was very nice.
Sunteți la început de mandat, dar am văzut că aveți o agendă foarte încărcată. Participați la diferite evenimente, aveți întâlniri la nivel de miniștri. V-ați întâlnit și cu Ministrul Sănătății, și cu Ministrul Economiei, și Ministrul Afacerilor Interne. Ce urmează?
I'm trying to meet as many key persons as possible. So I began my meeting with ministers and business leaders, and I need to meet many more people, not just from politics and economy, but from all sorts of walks, all walks of life. And I want to visit so many places in Moldova.
Cât de atractivă este Republica Moldova pentru investitorii japonezi și care ar fi acele domenii atractive?
Until today, there have been, a very limited economic interactions between Japan and Moldova, both in trade and investment. But in my opinion, Moldova has a great potential, and Japan can benefit from that. I can see three important moments, elements that will make Moldovan economy very strong. The first is the reconstruction in Ukraine, that is sure to happen. The second point is Moldova's status as a candidate member of the European Union. And the third point is Moldova's youth, very talented, very able. So these three points are the strong points in the Moldovan economy.
Ce știați despre Republica Moldova înainte de a vă începe misiunea în țara noastră și care sunt impresiile atunci când ați venit aici la noi?
Well, to be honest, I knew little about Moldova. After I was designated as ambassador to the Republic of Moldova, I began to read a few books about history of Moldova and the Moldovan folklore. And then I checked what the products Moldovans produce and export, and then I ordered several bottles of wine and drank it very happily, and all of them are very, very tasty. I felt that the Moldovans are warm, welcoming, and then very open and intelligent people.
Excelență, cunoaștem că majoritatea cetățenilor din Japonia au studii superioare. Asta ar însemna că câștigă mai mult sau e un statut special?
The world today is increasingly becoming a knowledge-based society. It is very important to have a good education in order to be able to survive in such a society where the brain power is the dominant force. So good education, therefore, is a must in Japan and in any society, in my opinion. With good education, you can realize your aspirations. You can earn enough money to make a living. But if you have a good enough education, then you can see things deeper and wider. You can enlarge your friendship, and you can question probably the accepted knowledge and probably find new discoveries. So education is a very good thing.
Japonia investește foarte mult în știință și tehnologie. De ce se mizează pe aceste domenii?
Japan is a country with a lot of people, but with little flat land. We cannot produce all the necessary food to fill the nation's stomach. We don't have natural resources. Therefore, we need to be able to produce what people in the world want to purchase. And then with that earned money, we will be able to purchase what we need, but what we cannot produce. So in order for this mechanism to work, we need to be strong in science and technology, and then that's why we spend so much money on science and technology to be able to survive in this world.
Știm că vizele pentru Japonia se obțin foarte greu. De ce?
Every country has the visa policy. That's because you cannot allow the social instability by accepting uncontrolled flow of immigrants into your country. In Japan's case, there are different opinions in our country. There are those who say that we are suffering from the aging of the population, from a decreasing number of the people. Therefore, we need to open our borders and we need to welcome more and more foreign workers. But on the other hand, there are those who say that no, once we take in too many foreigners, then the essence of Japan will be lost, and there will be a social instability, etc.
Știm că cei care au ajuns în Japonia laudă curățenia de acolo, mai ales în Tokyo, care are peste 30 de milioane de locuitori. Cum se reușește acest lucru?
Well, Tokyo is such a big city, big and densely populated city that we cannot afford to have a dirty streets. In my opinion, the cleanliness of the streets in Tokyo and other parts of Japan has a lot to do with the children's upbringing at home and at schools. For example, children are required to clean their classrooms. And then the children are encouraged to pick up rubbish when they find one on the schoolyards and put them into a dustbin. If you are brought up in an environment like that, then when you are adult, you will probably quite often find rubbish and pick it up and put in a dustbin on the streets. I do it myself, not always, but quite often.
Domnule ambasador, știm că standardul de viață și longevitatea este foarte ridicat în Japonia. Cum se explică acest lucru?
In my opinion, in our case, the reason why international media still refer to Japan as one of the most livable places, livable countries in the world, is because it's so safe to live in Japan. I'll give you an example. The children as young as 6 walk to the school or even take trains and buses to commute to schools. It's so safe that the parents do not question about the danger in doing so. We take it for granted, and that adds a great deal to the standard of living. And I think things like clean air and clean water, these also add to the standard of living. And as for the old people, many of them prefer to work well over their retirement age by way of finding a second job or finding something socially meaningful to do, like joining the non-governmental organizations and the local community mutual assistance groups, etc.
Japonia este o țară cu o istorie și cu tradiții interesante, dar diferite de alte popoare. Când mergeți în altă parte, cât de greu și cât de ușor e să vă acomodați?
As a diplomat, I'm mentally ready to live in countries with different customs and cultures. So that's not a problem. What I often find rather difficult is to assess the safety of the country, because Japan is so safe. And after reassessing the safety level of that country, I have to adjust my daily, schedule and the patterns of activity, etc.
Excelență, familia de obicei vă însoțește când trebuie să mergeți în misiune?
Yes, they usually do. In Chisinau, I live only with my son, who goes to international school. My wife stays in Japan for health and family reasons, but she is hoping very much to come to Moldova.
Domnule ambasador, deoarece suntem la finalul acestui interviu, ce mesaj aveți pentru cetățenii din Republica Moldova?
I read news stories that the economy has been bad for many years, and because of the war has become worse. And then I am aware that a lot of people move outside this country in search for a better job. But well, these things might be true, but I think I see something different as well. I think there is something obvious that has not become visible yet. I think this country is just before the break of dawn. They say that the darkest moment during a day is just before the sun appears. I think this is exactly the situation that this country is facing.
Excelență, vă mulțumim pentru amabilitatea cu care ne-ați răspuns la întrebări, vă dorim numai bine și să mai avem ocazii pentru alte și alte interviuri.
Mulțumesc mult și la revedere!